I am a Jen who reads. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. This is my It's Finally Fall, woohoo, book tag. So you can see my setup is a little bit different than my other videos. There is a better view of one wall of my gorgeous library that I'm so proud of. We are recording some live book sales later on tonight, so I had to adjust this setup a little bit to do my It's Finally Fall book tag. And I know that it's been fall for like a month, but in Florida this past week and a half, we have finally been feeling some of the fall weather. It's been a little bit cool. It's still pretty hot in the afternoons, but in the morning and in the evenings, it's hoodie weather. So I'm really excited for that. I have my pumpkin shirt on and I'm ready to jump right into the It's Finally Fall book tag. So the first book tag prompt for this is a book with a vivid setting. And I think this is a great one to start off with because fall, unlike any of the other seasons, especially in Florida, I think it's because we don't have a lot of seasons. When I think of fall, all kinds of senses come to me. It's just full of imagery, the way things sound and smell and taste and the way things look. Even the sky looks a little bit different. So for a book with a vivid setting, I chose Nora Roberts' The Awakening. This is the first book in the Dragonheart Legacy. And I gave a review of this in my September reading wrap-up. Not a lot of stuff happens in this book. It's not like full of action. I think it's mostly just setting up the other books, which I haven't read yet. But a majority of this book takes place in Ireland. And so it talks a lot about just the imagery and the greenery and the smells and the sights and the rainbows and the fairies and all of the different fae that live in Ireland. So I think that this is a great book for this prompt, a book with a vivid setting. All right, so the next one is Nature is Beautiful, a book with beautiful writing, but that deals with some heavy topics. So I chose two books. The first one is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is an amazing book to be able to read about Evelyn Hugo through the decades and how her life in show business kind of changes from decade to decade. And I don't want to give anything away, but the fact that Evelyn Hugo has to hide a lot about herself definitely deals with a lot of topics that I feel like a lot of people in today's society deal with, not being able to be their true selves. So definitely deals with heavy topics, but is beautifully written. And the other book I have is American Dirt. This is a beautiful looking book as well, but this deals with some heavy topics of immigration and families who are trying to cross the border into the United States. And a lot of these families have children. And so this is definitely a book that took me a while to get through just because there was a lot of stuff in it that was hard to read, but definitely beautifully written, definitely a beautiful book, but definitely has to deal with a lot of hard topics. All right, so our next topic deals with the fact that we go back to school in the fall. So the next prompt is a nonfiction book that taught you something. I don't read a whole lot of nonfiction. I have fairly recently read a couple of them though. So the first one is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. And this mostly just taught me a whole lot of different ways that you can look at the different aspects of parenting. And it deals with topics about how to react if your children come out to you, just parenting in general, being yourself even when it's uncomfortable. A lot of things in this book really spoke to me. I highlighted and annotated this book a lot. And the other nonfiction book, I won't say that I really learned anything from this book, but I'm glad my mom died. So the things that I did learn were just kind of crazy and upsetting, especially since I used to watch iCarly all the time with my daughter when she was younger. So just sort of learning about some of the aspects of the childhood movie star industry were kind of disturbing. And this was a good book. I definitely recommend this book. All right, so the next prompt is, in order to keep warm in the fall, we like to snuggle up and be with people to keep us warm. And so the next prompt is a family or a group or a friend group that you would like to be a part of. So I chose the inner circle of the Night Court, but specifically those that live in the House of Wind. I would die to live in the House of Wind and just have it know my inner thoughts and know the things that I like. It would be so cool to walk into my bedroom and have books laying on my bed that the house literally put there for me because it knew that I would like those books. Other than the House of Wind, just being in the inner circle. Is it called the inner circle or the inner court? I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've read these. But just that friend group in general, how they're so close and they would literally die and kill for each other. But then they also can joke around with each other. So this is the inner circle. This is specifically A Court of Silver Flames because this was just the book that was the easiest for me to grab off my shelf. And it's also the book where we read the most about the House of Wind. In most places, in the fall time, colorful leaves are piling up in front yards. Obviously, again, not where I live. So the next reading prompt is a pile of leaves. So to find books where the spines have autumn colors and make a pile of them, I chose these books. I have not read all of these books. Small Favors, I want to read. It's been on my list for a while. City of the Fallen Angels, I can't remember if I've read that because I've read a few Cassandra Clare books, but next year I'm going to try to go through and read everything by her. Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. I have read that and really enjoyed it. Priory of the Orange Tree. This one's popped up in a couple of videos. I just haven't read it yet, and I don't know when I'll get to. It's pretty big. Hopefully soon. And then the Thursday, is it the Thursday Murder Club? I think that's what it says. So I tried to read this one or listen to that one on audio, and I just didn't like the voices. So I found this one at a thrift store, and I picked it up. And so this is my autumn pile of leaves / books. There you go. In the fall time, the nights are getting darker, and so this next prompt is a creepy read. I literally just finished this book yesterday. It took me about 2 days to read. Tender is the Flesh. This is not scary, but it is creepy and it is disturbing. It is on a whole nother level. I've never read a book like this before. This was definitely the perfect time of year to read this book. So basically there was a virus and it affected animals. And so now animals are poisonous to humans and we cannot eat them. And so this is kind of just a look of what would happen if that were the case. In this particular instance, we have started raising humans just like we do cattle. And so it goes through the descriptions of what those slaughterhouses look like now. It follows a man who works in one of these slaughterhouses and just what he's dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And there's a lot of disturbing things in this book. It's pretty short, but I definitely recommend that you read it if you don't get creeped out or grossed out. There's a lot of gross stuff in this book. So if you've got like a weak stomach, you probably don't want to read this, but it's pretty cool. I liked it. I'm glad that I read it. The days are getting colder, and so this next prompt calls for a short, heartwarming book. I don't have a physical copy of this one because I read it on Kindle Unlimited, but it is the Monk and the Robot series. The first book is called Psalm for the Wild Built, and I think about this book a lot still, and I laughed out loud. It was so cute. I spent the whole time just like, oh, look at that. I can't even explain it to you what this book is about. I love it. It was definitely heartwarming. If you're looking for a cozy, I don't know that it would be considered a fantasy, but if you're looking for a cozy, heartwarming book, Psalm for the Wild Built is definitely the #1 that I would recommend. The last prompt for this Finally Fall book tag is, well, fall returns every single year. So talk about a book that you like to come back to time and time again. And that's going to be, for me, Harry Potter. This is a book that basically got me back into reading, and it specifically got me into reading fantasy. I've read the whole series a couple of times. All of my children, everybody in my house has read it. I have let's see if I can show you. Right there is my Harry Potter shelf. Some of those books are sort of hard to get to right now. So I have my little Pop Funkos. Harry Potter is actually my least favorite character in the Harry Potter series. I actually can't stand him. So I brought along some of my other friends. So good old Hagrid and Luna and Mad Eye Moody, Constant Vigilance. Oh, he's a little blurry. Harry Potter is one of those books where I think about it or talk about it, or there is some reference to Harry Potter in my daily life. And also, can you see that? It's kind of weird. I have a Harry Potter tattoo. We have animals that are named after Harry Potter characters. We enjoy Harry Potter trivia. And so this is a book, whether it's reading a physical copy or listening to the audiobook, this is a book series that I think that I'm going to visit time and time again for my entire life. That is it for the 2023 It's Finally Fall book tag, and this wouldn't be a book tag without tagging somebody. So I'm going to tag 3 of my favorite booktubers at the moment. They're all heavy hitters, so I don't know that my tags are even going to be seen by them. But I am going to tag below A Model Who Reads, Ian Goobley, and Becca and the Books. So if you haven't checked them out, go ahead and do so. You will enjoy them. I love all of their content. My goal for the end of this year is to hit 100 subscribers. So if you liked anything that you saw here, or you just want to see more of my annoying dogs in the background, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. All of the links to my socials are in the description, and I appreciate you sticking around. Happy fall.